Hola, soy Litzy La Bomba Dilene, boxeadora profesional de México, y estás viendo el show de Todd Atkins, en donde verás y escucharás a grandes talentos del boxeo. No te lo puedes perder.
All right, so I'm here. I'm with Trap Gambino. This is Todd Atkins from Todd Atkins Show, and we're here on Millions. My second interview I did on this channel and this platform. Really like the platform, so yeah, it's a for people that are into this kind of stuff. You might want to check it out. And Trap, Trap Daddy Gambino. Thanks for taking the time. I saw you got a new promotion going, so I kind of just want to let you jump in and maybe give your opening thoughts on that.
Sure, man. First of all, shout out to Millions because they're everywhere right now and they're doing their thing. And they're helping this promotion a lot right now. So they're helping us get off the ground. I really appreciate that. So you asked about the new fight league. So yeah, I've been inspired to start a new fight league for a while now. I just never really had the confidence or the connections or the platform to make it happen. And it kind of came out of nowhere. I had like a little beef online with a certain somebody named Keemstar, who also owns a boxing promotion called Happy Punch. And that
Oh
beef,
yeah, yeah.
unfortunately, led to me being suspended from ever boxing on Happy Punch. And that was my goal. I wanted to box on a big platform, become a big influencer boxer. That's why I went on the reality shows and all that stuff. So that kind of killed my dream. And it left me with no choice but to maybe start a league of my own. And so, yeah, I wanted to start a league and something different. So, we're starting a league where we can pay everybody, even amateur fighters. We found a loophole to do that, just like a lot of these promoters found a loophole to not pay these amateur fighters. We don't believe in amateur fighting. I don't think anybody should fight for free ever and put their bodies on the line for nothing. So I developed a business model and a rule set that helps these guys get paid no matter what.
Yeah, that's something I was kind of interested in talking about because I saw you kind of talking about things like promoters that give people tickets to sell, which there's a lot of them that do that. Um, how are you
Yeah.
going to look to kind of well maybe talk about that first, and then we'll get into how you're going to deal
So
with it.
I used to fight amateur MMA. My wife used to fight amateur MMA. A lot of my friends and family have been in the business. And one of the things that I never understood is like when you first get your fight, these promoters will give you like 50 tickets and they'll be like, sell these tickets and you get a percentage of these tickets. And that just made no sense to me. Like, I'll literally see fighters the week of their fight, they should be in training camp. They should be busting their ass. Instead, they're walking down Fremont Street, handing out tickets, hoping to get like a 10% of the ticket sale. Like, isn't this the promoter's job? I feel
Hmm.
like it's the promoter's job to promote, the fighter's job to fight. So, in our business model, we do not give the fighters a percentage of the ticket sales. Instead, their pay is based on fan interactions and fan merchandise sales and all that other stuff. So and even charity events. So we're doing charity for these guys and all kinds of stuff just to give them as much money as possible. And I think it's horrible that these guys have to go out and push their own tickets even the day of their fight. I see it happening, and these guys are literally like cutting weight trying to sell tickets for like 10% on a ticket sale. I feel like once you get your fight booked, it should be your job to train, show up to fight, promote yourself if you want, but you shouldn't have to. Like, you should promote yourself with these, not online, and do my job for me. Like, if asses don't show up to seats, I feel like that's my fault, not yours as the fighter.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now I know a lot promoters have a lot going on and stuff like that, and I get it, but it does seem like a lot of the promoters put it on the fighters to kind of promote themselves, which I don't really
Yeah,
get
it's
necessarily.
an easy model, right? Like especially for influencers because you hire these guys that have like 15 to 50,000 followers and you put it all on them to promote the fight. Like you say, okay, every ticket sale, your pay is based on their ticket sales. So these guys, of course, they're going to bust their ass and the promoters don't have to do anything. And like these guys are paying their own flights and their hotels, and it makes absolutely no sense to me. Like most of the time these guys are paying to fight just because they feel like they're privileged to be on a platform. And I feel like we should look at it the other way. Like we're privileged to have these warriors, to have these gladiators fight on our platform. So that's why I want to switch everything around and start spoiling the fighters instead of keep spoiling these promoters, because I see these promoters out buying yachts and stuff like that. And these fighters are starving to death. It's crazy to me.
Now, how do you plan to deal with the issue though? How do you plan to get around what they've been doing, so to speak?
So what they're doing is using the amateur fighting loophole. So legally, you cannot pay as a business. You're not legally allowed to pay amateur fighters to fight on your event. So we're gonna give them a per diem when they show up. We're allowed to cover their travel and hotel. That's legal. And we've set up a business model to where all our merchandise sales and all our membership, we have a Patreon membership where we're going to open up a Discord that has all the fighters in it. PFL kind of tried to do this, but they did it with like tokens and all kinds of weird shit, and it didn't really work out. um, but we're gonna do it on Patreon. So this is gonna be powered by Patreon. A lot of the fighters' pay is gonna be powered by Patreon. And we're setting up a Discord with all the fighters, all the talent. I mean, hell, even the ring, down to the ring girls and the ring boys are going to be in this Discord. So it's going to be the most interactive Discord ever, where the fighters can vote on the fights, they can vote on the venues, hell, they can vote on the outfits. It's going to be pretty insane. And this is where the fighters are going to get paid. So instead of the business paying them, the fans are paying them directly. So we're not touching any of this money. We set up separate accounts, and all of it's going to be tracked on Patreon and publicly on Instagram. I want to post like weekly, just to brag to these other promotions on how much our fighters are making over here at the NFL. I think that would be a pretty cool thing to do. So yeah, everything is going to be public. Everything is going to be transparent, and we're planning on paying the fighters through the fans through our promotion.
Now, how are you gonna go about financing that? Like, do you like already have the stuff in place to do this?
So with Patreon, you don't have to. All you have to do is set up like the model for it and everything. So Patreon is kind of like OnlyFans, but it sounds
Right.
way better. You know what I mean? So like it's a it's like a GoDaddy and OnlyFans, something like that, where you can set up like a payment and a business model the way that you want to do it. So for example, ours is set up once we have this Discord launched, you can pay $5 a month to be in this Discord to interact with all the fighters in the Discord, all the talent in the Discord, as well as there's gonna be like bonuses and stuff like that, tiers, and you get to vote on the fights, which is to me the coolest part about it is you get to vote on who fights and who wins the fights if it goes to decision, and yeah, that's pretty dope to me. And I'm hiring talent that is going to bring these people in as well, which is where the influencer side of things come along.
Now, do you have a venue and a date for the first one?
I do have a date. The venue's open. I have a couple places in mind. One place that I really, really want to do is the FSW Arena. Um, I have some I have some connections over there at the FSW Arena. It's smaller. We're probably not going to have the most fans at our first event. It's mostly going to be promoted online. Here in Vegas is going to be International Fight Week, so that's going to be huge. We chose June 27th for that specific date. International Fight Week. UFC's the next day. That's why I plan on bringing the ring girls in early, walking down Fremont Street myself, and handing out tickets. And I feel like that's the way that promoters should do it. It's genius. There's going to be this city is going to be filled with fight fans. So I'm going to be selling out the day before the event. I it's all coming together perfectly.
Hmm. So International Fight Week, that's July. So you got February, March,
It's
April,
June
or June,
27th.
okay, February,
Yeah.
March. You got about 3 months.
Yeah.
So when do you want the venue locked in?
Probably soon. Next week I'm hoping to get the venue locked in. The cool thing about Vegas is it's filled with just rich people who just want to show off their cool shit. So I have a lot of people in my inbox that are just like, "Hey man, come use my mansion. You can do like a pool party and stuff at the same time." My issue is I have to make sure everything's legal, and I have to make sure it's a place where we can sell alcohol because drunk fans and fighting go hand in hand. I've had a couple venues hit me up where it's only like weed, so you can only smoke. Las Vegas, you can't do both at the same venue. I didn't like that. I don't think that weed smoking and fighting go hand in hand. So I feel like drunk fans would be way better. So I'm looking at a couple different venues. I could fuck around, do a free venue and do a mansion party with a bunch of chairs and stuff like that. But I don't want to do that. I want to do something official, something big. That's why I'm really looking at the FSW arena. They already have a big wrestling ring. They have a production area. They're familiar with productions, and yeah, I'm looking at the FSW arena, something bigger like that.
Hmm. Now, have you talked to the people that run this venue? Do you have any meetings set up with them or anything
Oh
like that?
yeah, oh yeah, and I've worked with the FSW arena a couple times before, through the LFC and Sean. So yeah, we're familiar with the FSW arena, and then there's the Neapolitan or whatever you call it downtown, which is outside. But that's a good one because there's so much traffic. People just walk by it, and they want to they want to see what's popping. That's another one that I've worked with the LFC on. So yeah, thankfully I've got a lot of connections that I can work with on the venue. The venue's really like the least of my worries right now. The talent is what I'm collecting right now. I got the investors, working on the sponsorship. Got a couple sponsors lined up that I'm gonna announce next week. Some big sponsors that people wouldn't expect. And yeah, everything's rolling real nice, man. I didn't want to do it too soon. I know a lot of these guys do it like 1 or 2 months. 3 months sounds soon, but as hard as I'm working and as much as I'm working, it's gonna play out nicely.
Now, do you already have a card that you've been messing around with or no?
I have a lot of fighters that want to fight on the card, but I have not put anything together yet. And this is the weird thing. So, a lot of these fighters are kind of like iffy about the no weight classes. So, I have to talk to these guys about like first I have to put together the roster and let these guys know like who's the biggest, who's the smallest, so they get the idea of like what's the worst that can happen here. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
yeah, right now I'm putting together the talent, which is like the ring card girls, the referees, the color commentator, the play by play guy, the Discord manager. I got my assistant and the marketing promotion. It's getting crazy, but I'm hoping that the talent comes before the roster and try not to get too ahead of myself here.
Mm. How many fights do you think you would want to have? You think?
I want to do 8 fights, four, then have like a concert, little break, and then another 4 fights.
Well, I think it's a good amount. Like, not
Yeah, not
overkill.
too long, not too, probably like 5 to 6 hour event at the most.
Yeah. And what do you think it's going to consist of? More like the influencer types, or you think you're going to have
That's a
some
great question, man, because I don't know if I want to do it the easiest way, I would just hire a bunch of influencers, and I know that they're just going to flood their fans to the Discord, and that's $5 a head, and then I could easily pay these guys a ton of money. They're going to come back. I could do it that way, or I could get these characters that have like not a lot of followers and build them up. And I'm thinking about doing both. uh, I think it'd be cool to have like like a main event with like an influencer that has a lot of followers, and then maybe like build the rest of these guys up. I really want to build stars here because a lot of these influencers are stuck up and they want pay that's beyond me anyways. So I don't have $10,000 to pay somebody to fight right now. One day I will. But as for now, it's not going to be anywhere near $10,000 unless the Discord blows up. You never know. The way I set up the model is possible to make as much as they want to make, but I don't have Keemstar money.
like how much do guys make like in Happy Punch, for example? Do you know?
$10,000 for a debut, which is
And then
unbelievable to me because a lot of these UFC guys don't make that.
or guys like
It's
Salt Pappy, for example, how much does he? Do you
Oh
think
man,
he's
I
making?
couldn't even. I don't even know his because he's got experience and followers and everything like that. I'm sure he's. That's why I was chasing that for the longest time because I knew it had money behind it, and I'm a good boxer, and I've been on fucking TV and all that stupid stuff. But this is ever since I've got the fire underneath me for this. It's my whole motivation has totally switched. Now I feel like it's better for me to fight for the fighters.
So you think he's already up there in the pay scale?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I can't hate on any of those guys.
Because I
I
was
mean, I don't
wondering.
know
I
what
mean,
they're
I know
doing
he
to
does
pay
it a
these guys
lot,
now.
for example.
Say that
But I
again?
was wondering how. I know a guy like Salt Pappy does it a lot, so I was wondering like how much is he getting?
That's a great question. I'm sure there's some kind of public record out there, but these guys are getting paid. I don't know how they're getting paid that much, but they're getting paid. I do think that some of these guys might be getting paid a little too much, but hey, if they're bringing in, the revenue, if it's paying off, then I can't hate on any of that.
Now, how confident are you that you're going to be able to pull this off? Because first
100%.
events, I mean, yeah, you never know. Some guys will say, "Yeah,
So
I'll do
yeah,
this,"
you
and they
never
don't.
know.
Yeah,
So this is what I was telling my wife the other day. I've done a million interviews about like my own fighting, and I've always been like, yeah, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna knock this guy out, I'm gonna choke him out, I'm gonna win, I'm the biggest, the best. I was never totally confident about anything that I had behind me when it comes to my music, my reality shows, acting, anything. For some reason, this feels different. I feel 100% confident in this. I have an answer for every question. I have an action for every reaction. It's or however the fuck you say that. It's coming together, man, and I'm super super confident that this is gonna play out really well. I know the first event is gonna be amazing. My fear is after that. I don't want to be like an XFL where the first event everything's great and then it just kind of falls off from there. And I've been a part of promotions that's done the same thing, and I've seen it happen, and that would suck. So I'm hoping to keep the momentum alive.
yeah, because especially like in MMA, you see a lot of guys say, "Yeah, we're gonna do," and then they don't or whatever. You
Yeah.
know,
Or they have a first show and it's really cool, and then the second show just sucks, and then it just kind of falls off from there. Or they have a show and they don't pay anybody. I've seen that
right, right,
happen
right,
too.
exactly.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. I put in my contract that if this show does not happen, I still pay everybody the per diem that is in the contract. So even if they don't show up, they get that money.
Now, are you gonna pull mostly guys from like Vegas or?
That would be smart, but no, that would be kind of a jackass move if I if I offer free
Well, I
travel
mean,
and
for a
hotel
first
rooms.
show, I mean, it wouldn't necessarily, like,
I plan on scouting in Vegas, but I'll be honest with you, man. A lot of these guys are not gonna like what I'm doing. I have a big investor here, and he is friends with a lot of the guys in Vegas that run amateur promotions. And one of the first things that happened when I announced this is he got calls from these guys like, "Hey, what's going on here? Who's this guy? What is he doing?" So I have a feeling it's going to be stepping on a lot of people's toes, even if it's boxing. Like I got to be respectful about how I approach these guys, because everybody here in Vegas is connected as well. The MMA community is very tight over here, the athletic committee and all these guys. Luckily, I do have some friends in that area, but still, I have to watch what I do. So I might have to scout like Tampa, Florida, or something like that.
oh, really, to do the show?
No, no, to like get the fighters. I was thinking about
Okay.
Tampa to do the show, but that's just really easy. Honestly, everybody does Tampa because there's like no regulation there for some reason. But I
But
feel like that's
Vegas
like
can be hard to run in because of some of the other promotions there make that. So,
exactly. That's why I have to watch my p's and q's for sure. But luckily,
but
it's an exhibition, so everything's exhibition. Headgear is optional, but hopefully at the speech I give at the beginning of the night, nobody chooses to wear headgear, because they're the faces of this company. I would hate for them to cover up their face. Yeah, it's going to be a wild night.
and how confident are you that, like, what I mentioned before, some of these forces in Vegas, that won't be a problem?
Oh, I'm confident that it will be a problem. It's just how I'm going to deal with it. There's going to be people that are going to try to stop me for sure. I think there's already been people that are trying to stop me, and I haven't even announced like a venue. I've just announced a date or anything. But as soon as I announce a venue, I'm sure there's going to be people calling the arena, making bomb threats, all kinds of stuff. It's happened before, even when I was going to fight on a card. The internet is a crazy place. I put myself out there a lot. I put myself out there confidently a lot. And a lot of that time, I was a fat guy talking a lot of trash. So I got what I get. And, sometimes I get some hate, and it comes with the territory.
Now, you said you're probably going to announce a venue when, like, a week?
Yeah, I would like to announce a venue next week. I would like to get one locked in for sure.
Then there's no turning back, and then you got to deal with the whatever you
Well,
have to deal with at
I
that
got
point.
so much money behind me right now that there's no turning back anyways, or I might have a fucking mafia out for me or something. So
So you
I got
you
some.
had to go to investors to kind of
Oh yeah, I got
to
some.
start this up.
I got some power behind me. That's for sure. I got some good investors behind me, and I got some really smart businessmen, and they're a lot smarter than me. I'm smart when it comes to promotion and when it comes to fight business. They're smart when it comes to numbers and actual business. So a lot of the moves that you guys are seeing me do, I'm being puppeteered. So yeah, I got a lot of cool people behind me.
You puppeteered. You got people pulling your strings. You're saying.
A little bit, a little bit.
Now I saw like Dana White brought you out for Power Slap. I could have
Oh
sworn I saw you in the audience when they had like, I think it was
man,
influencers only primarily. Like,
yeah, Dana's really cool. He also brought me and Liver King to UFC 299 in Miami. That was an experience. That was actually my first UFC card ever. And I was in the influencer row and shit like that with Logan Paul and all those guys. Everybody was looking at me like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Like,
mhm.
I went to the after party, and it was just like all celebrities, like Steve-O and all these guys, and everybody was literally just looking at me like I was like, me and Ashley was like the only ones there that kind of didn't really belong, but we were there on kind of like a sympathy case. But I appreciated it anyways. Dana White's a really cool guy for bringing us out there. The Liver Kings, dope as hell for spoiling us while we were out there. Literally gave us a card and said, spend as much as you want. We definitely did, and we had a blast in Miami. So, yeah, shout out to Dana White and the Liver King for sure.
I haven't seen as much of Liver King lately.
He, I haven't seen as much as the liver from the Liver King lately. He's kind of doing his own thing right now.
Because I know he had a presence at the UFC for maybe a couple of events, maybe one or two, and then
Yeah, he's kind of like behind the scenes right now. Like I don't like a lot of people close to him are really he's kind of stepped back and I think he's just really working on himself right now. I don't know if he's working on a Liver King 3.0 or something like that, but I'm sure he's working on something interesting.
because I know UFC was doing some content with him,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah,
don't know
maybe
if
he'll
the
come out
fans
as
didn't
like
like
vegan or
it or
something
what.
like that.
They
Say
were
that
doing
again?
content with him backstage. He was backstage talking to
Yeah.
fighters and stuff, and I think fans were like, "What is this?" You know?
Yeah, I
I don't,
was literally just talking to my wife about that. How like I was trying to find like pictures of me and the Liver King behind the scenes in UFC Miami. So I was like searching Reddit and shit, and all I could find was like people talking shit. Like, what is this goofball doing behind the scenes of UFC? I'm like, oh man, yeah, the
exactly.
internet's they're ruthless.
Yeah, and then I just saw him kind of vanish. You know, so I was
That's where
wondering
he's
what had
at right
happened.
now with everybody. Is he's kind of vanished, including
It's
me.
kind of,
Like all his friends and everybody's kind of just take a step back and I think he's just working on himself right now, which I completely understand.
but what was it like being one of these Vegas influencers at Power Slap? Kind of tell me about that.
It felt like it felt like everybody was competing for attention, and that weekend was like it was overstimulating. It was just like going to party after party, but the only reason you were going to these parties and these hotel rooms and all these other stuff was to get near these other big influencers, to get a picture with them, to say hi and laugh. Make sure you tag them in the picture. Make sure you hashtag. Make sure you post it at the right time. Make sure you're loud enough in the room and dressed flashy enough in the room so everybody sees who the fuck you are and notices you. It's just make sure you bring a hot girl with you that you don't even fucking know so you can stand out more. If you're at Power Slap and somebody gets slapped, the camera pans on you. Make sure you overreact. Make sure you overreact as much as
Mhm.
you possibly can. So they play that reaction shot and you get your fucking face. It's bullshit to be honest. I hate the influencer life. It's overstimulated. It's competing to try to be the craziest, flashiest, most annoying motherfucker in the world to me. And I am so glad that I am not doing that anymore. I'm so glad that now I'm the face of a company instead of the face of somebody trying to embarrass myself to fucking make it. I don't have to go on Dr. Phil and say people are making fun of me or go on divorce court and say my wife's packing Lunchables and it embarrasses me or so like making up stupid shit to get on TV to get clout. I don't have to do that anymore. I can actually be myself. So when it comes to like Power Slap and all that and all this influencer shit, I'm glad I'm done with it. I really am.
Yeah, we see people like Nina Drama, like with their big reactions and stuff at
Yeah,
Power
and it's
Slap.
like I
It's
don't even think they're
ridiculous.
that big of fans. It was the same thing in Miami because we were in the front row of the influencer side. So every time somebody got hit or something, if we seen the camera pan by us, everybody's everybody's overreacting and shit, hoping that they're the ones that get the slow motion reaction shot. It's corny to me and it's fake and I can't stand it to be honest. I hate it. I think that's why I came across like a lot of times I tried to do this stuff. Like I tried to come on the local live Keemstar stream. I tried to do the Dr. Phil thing and the reality show and I came across as fake because I was like I'm not really a local. I'm not really, somebody to be on Dr. Phil or something like that. I was just trying everything I could to make it and I think it was all leading up to this.
Do you think you'll be able to get a Dr. Phil presence at your event?
That would be pretty funny, wouldn't it? I think I
In
might be
some
able to
in
get
some
some of his
capacity, you
alumni.
know? You know,
Say that again.
he doesn't have to fight. Maybe he could be a commentator, or
Yeah. Yeah, I would spend all the money in the world to get him out here if I could make him that happen. That would be fucking hilarious.
yeah, his price would
Dr.
probably
Phil's
be
great.
pretty high. He could be the announcer or something like that. Do you have an announcer already booked?
I'm working on securing an announcer right now, and I think you know who it is. Um, he's a pretty big deal here in Las Vegas. A lot of the
Oh, really?
talent that I'm hiring is here in Las Vegas, and a lot of people that I've
Okay.
worked with before. And when I secure this guy, he's another guy with a lot of followers and announcing TV presence and all that stuff. So
Mm.
a lot of these guys that I'm hiring have a TV background, and I'm doing that on purpose because I want this to be like, you know, the new Jerry Springer, the new XFL, the new WWE, UFC Ultimate Fighter,
Mhm.
all that combined into one. The ultimate entertainment.
Now, how did you get Millions on board for this?
I think they might have reached out to us. I'm not sure. So I have people that are working behind the scenes with a few Instagram accounts, and they're doing their best to promote the brand and all that stuff. And I'm not sure if they reached out to Millions or Millions reached out to them, but either way, I think it's dope because the business model is so fucking similar. Like Millions don't expect me to do the work for them. Like they're putting
Hmm.
their brand behind me and they're pushing me out. They're promoting me, and they know that they get paid on how they promote. That's how promotion works. They get it. So that's why I thought Millions was the perfect pay-per-view streaming service for us because the business model goes hand in hand. It's like direct. And I think it's cool that they do the clothing line as well because we were going to go through Teespring.
Hmm.
Obviously, we cannot pay to manufacture the clothing, or it would be paying the fighters. So we're gonna go through like a second hand, like a Teespring or something like that. Millions has their own merchandise
Hmm.
promotion, so we're gonna talk to them about doing that as well. And a lot of our stuff is gonna go through Millions, including the
Yeah, I
streaming
think.
on June 27th.
Yeah, the pay-per-view thing. Tell me about that. Like, how much will it be on Millions?
I'm pretty sure. What do they charge? Like $20 a month or something like, or $20 a pay per view. I'm not sure what they charge, but we're gonna do the minimum for sure because we're already gonna have the Discord and stuff like that. But we're gonna do the minimum, uh, whatever it is for the pay per view. But the coolest thing about the pay per view is they work on like an OBS system, which means, and I've talked to a couple drone operators about this. I think it'd be cool instead of having like the old school like setup camera production team, which is really expensive as well, to have like four drone operators, like one like in the ring, basically like near the fighters, trying not to get punched. One outside the ring, one by the fans, one by the commentator. I just feel like it'd be really cool to do all this via drones, and it'd be possible through Millions. And I don't even think UFC Fight Pass could do that. So that's really cool. I like Millions. Like who works through OBS? That's dope as hell. Like everybody knows that system. That's an easy system to learn and work with. All the streamers work with that. So yeah, Millions is killing it. They know exactly what they're doing. Their promotion is everywhere. Shout out to them.
Yeah, it's something that even I noticed. Like these creators, I had never seen them before in our space, in the MMA kind of combat sports space, and they would use this platform and they would get interviews because Millions was getting them for them.
Yeah,
They didn't
like
have to go out and do it.
exactly. And that's another thing that like more people are going to start taking notice of because if Millions is doing a better promotion job than these guys as managers, I mean, it as a manager, it should be your job to set up all these interviews and stuff like that. But if you got somebody like Millions on your side, you don't need that guy to do that for you. So, managers and promoters need to start doing their job a little bit better and a little bit differently with people like Millions and the MFL around.
Yeah, it was like even me, the first interview I did where someone interviewed me, I just put in I'm available on this date, and next thing I knew, they had someone to do a show with me on.
Yeah, that's really cool. It seems like they have a really like a big team behind them, and
Yeah.
I did not expect that. They were super professional with our business meeting and everything like that. And we just talked to them today, and yeah, we're setting up a press tour with me to basically do this, to go around explaining the rules, the business model, because everybody's gonna have questions. Everybody's gonna want to poke and prod. Everybody's gonna want to doubt, and it's my job to stay level-headed, answer all the questions directly and openly, and be totally transparent about this, because that's what's gonna save everything when it comes to like people not doubting. Is as long as I'm transparent, as long as everything's explained, you know, easy to understand, I think this will do great for the fans. The fans will definitely get it because they'll get what I'm trying to do.
And has Millions put like some of your promotion on their social medias?
I haven't tagged them yet because my stuff is a little out there, is a little pro wrestling, if you will, a little controversial. I'm gonna plan on tagging. They've tagged us in, obviously, the mention of the branding deal and all that. But I have yet to tag them in any of the promotional stuff yet. Just out of respect, I wanna build a little bit, and yeah, I want to have a reason to tag them because we're working on the merchandise and all that stuff now, and without like a venue, and it won't be as serious as if I tagged them with like a link and a venue and all that stuff. I need to make sure people take me seriously before I put myself in front of some of them.
Now, again, let's go over it for everybody the date and all the different platforms that they can see this event on.
So they can come in person, obviously, June 27th in Las Vegas. It's going to be downtown or uptown. I don't want to add a private arena. I'm gonna have it a public arena. Private arena would be easy. It's gonna be streamed on pay per view, Millions pay per view only, not YouTube or anything like that. I know they've had people that's done that before, which is hilarious to me. They've had people that like they've streamed services and then they go and see that same thing on YouTube. We're not going to do that. Strictly working with Millions. So that's where you're going to find us. And if you want to vote on the fights, if you want to interact with the fighters, we're going to be opening up a Discord once we have our roster completed. That way we can announce, like, look, this is a Discord with all these dope talents on the Discord. Come and flood it and vote and interact with these fighters.
And it's going to be all boxing, or is there going to be some MMA too?
It's going to be all boxing, 10-minute rounds, no rounds. So it's just 10-minute fights, I should say. Uh, so it's just straight through. There's no rounds, no weight classes. And if it goes to the final bell, the fans in the crowd via a crowd meter and the fans on the Discord both get to vote on who wins the bout.
Does it concern you a little bit not having weight classes might make it difficult to get guys in?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It does. And I feel like that's part of the controversy that's going to help us sell a little bit is the no weight classes, and that's the no weight class is a hint on what is to come. The boxing and the like, I don't even know if this is going to stay in a ring. The first one's probably going to be in the ring because it's the cheapest, the easiest, the safest. But I believe in evolution, and this is just a test of the rule set, a test of how to do an event, a venue, a promotion, a test of the fights, how our fighters are going to react, how the talent's going to react. It's basically just getting my feet wet right now. But the no weight classes is a hint of what I want to come. uh yeah, I'll just say that.
Well, I mean, Pride FC did some of that when I lived in Japan. They would do some kind of circus
Yeah,
fights like that,
yeah, that's
along with their regular. They did throw some of those in there.
Yeah, it
which
was
people
crazy.
like to
But
see.
I'm hoping, I'm just hoping that we don't get a crazy fan, like the fans aren't jackasses and match like a 5'5" guy with like a 7 foot 500 pound guy. Like I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But hey, it could happen. That's
It
the
can, and I'll
scary
tell
part of
you
this.
why. Because you know, when I lived on Oahu for a long time, 14 years. TJ Thompson, who was the first guy to put on MMA shows there, he did an event like that. It was basically no rules and no weight classes, and yeah, there were some guys that came that were like 500 pounds, and they would fight. Well, Yoba De La Cruz was 400 pounds, and he fought a guy, J.R. Palmer, who was probably 160 pounds, you know,
That's
and
crazy.
he
But
literally threw him out of the ring within the first 30 seconds of the fight. He had picked him up and he just climbed back in, like,
yeah,
and
I
just
know
kept
little
fighting
guys who
immediately.
could whoop some big guys' asses though. Like I feel like that's the interesting part of this. Like I feel like
Yeah,
that's the
Palmer.
gladiator.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, Palmer did beat him. The smaller
Oh,
guy
he
won
did.
the
Okay.
fight, but yeah, you would see fights like that, and there was some wild stuff that went on in those, because
Yeah,
it's big
that's
guys, small
fun to me,
guys.
man. That's super fun to me. Like the whole like the whole pride thing and these giant Japanese guys fighting these little tiny guys and stuff like that. I love that, man. I feel like that's the gladiator aspect, the Rome aspect. And yeah, I'm a fan of all that crazy stuff. Not as far as like I don't know if you know what Fight Circus is.
Hmm.
They go I feel like
Absolutely.
that's a little too far. I'm a fan of Fight Circus. I'm friends with the owners and all that stuff, but that's a little too goofy for me. I want my fight league to be a little bit more seriously. It's not going to be a circus, but it is going to be a spectacle.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how it goes. The
It's
only
going
thing
to be
I'd be
wild,
worried
man.
about with the no weight classes, because of how promotions are doing now, I'm worried guys would be afraid. That
They
you might
are.
have it might be tough to get guys in to get my 8 fight
No,
card,
you're
like you had
right.
said,
No,
because
you're
guys might
right.
be a little nervous about it.
No, you're 100% right because I've actually that's already been a problem. I've talked to fighters uh, who I really wanted on the card. I really, really wanted on the card. They had big names and all that stuff, and they were down. But it's the no weight classes that threw them off, and because they're either professional fighters or had a lot of experience, they just didn't want it. They felt like it was like silly. Like that's what makes it too much of a circus to a lot of these guys is the whole no weight classes.
Hmm. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm excited to see your
Thank
first
you,
show.
man.
I'm
I'm
excited to see
excited to.
how it'll vibe in Vegas. With some of the other forces
You ever been
that are
out here
around.
in Vegas?
I haven't been yet, believe
Oh
it or
man, this
not.
would be a great excuse to come out, man. It's 3 months away. You got plenty of time to book a
Yeah,
flight.
yeah, I do. I do need to come. It's
Maybe
crazy that I
Millions
haven't
can hook
been.
you up with like some press money.
Yeah. It's crazy because I lived in Japan, I lived on Oahu, I've been to a lot of tons of events, but I've never been to Vegas. I went to the UFC in Dallas, but yeah, I haven't been to
I've never
Vegas
been
yet. I
outside the
do need to
country,
go.
but Vegas is like every country combined into one little city.
Yeah. Yeah,
Literally, like
I
every time you
definitely
turn the
need to
corner,
check
it's
it
a
out.
different accent out here. I
And
love it.
International Fight Week, I'm sure would be cool to go, although I'm sure the hotels would be pretty jammed around that time.
I can help you out with that for sure. There's a lot of tips and tricks out here in Vegas that a lot of people don't know. And when they say it's booked, it's never booked out here in Vegas. There's always a place to go and always a place that's cheaper than the last.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, as always, it's great to talk to you, and maybe we could say one more thing about Millions on here, since this is what we're doing on this platform, and kind of talk about their support for OU, and
Sure.
how they're helping to put on the event.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Millions because these guys are the first ones to work with our brand. Uh, that has they're already established, and they're taking a risk on working with our brand that's not established. We have big names behind our brand, but we have yet to prove ourselves. So Millions is taking a risk. We're from Vegas. We love risks. So shout out to Millions for doing that for us. We're looking to pay everything out to them. Everything's going to pay off. The work that they're putting in for us, we're putting in just as much, if not more, for them. I love their platform. I love the way they're doing business because it's basically the same way we do business. We work to get paid. So yeah, shout out to Millions, and thank you for giving the MFL a shot.
Yeah. Well, Trap's always great to talk to you. It's my second time talking to him, and he's legit. I know people see the crazy stuff, but
Hey,
when you
the
talk to
camera
him, he's
adds
more
10
down to
pounds on the
earth.
TV.
He's more down to earth, when he does the interview. So, yeah, I wish you all best of luck, man. I can't wait to check it out.
Appreciate you having me on the platform to let me explain everything, brother.
Yeah, as always. It's great
Have a
talking
good
to you.
one, man.
Everybody, check him out, Trap Gambino. Oh yeah, tell people where they can find you on the other
Oh
stuff.
yeah, that might help out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my IG is Trap Daddy MMA, but the most important Instagram is Made Fight League at Made Fight League. If you're a fighter and you want to get paid, if you're sick of promoting yourself and you want a fighter, if you want a promoter to fight for you, go to Made Fight League, the MFL. We're boxing, but we're evolving. So it might be MMA down the line. I don't know. Just come and see what we're about. And yeah, Made Fight League. Follow us there. Instagram.
Yeah. As always, people, check out Trap Gambino Made Fight League. Until next time, take care.
Have a good one, brother.
You too.